Hello everyone, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Sincerely hope everybody is doing amazingly well today, this evening, whenever you've clicked on this video. If you are brand new here and this is the first time you are coming to hang out with us in the Unicorn realm, welcome. And for those of you who are returning, obviously welcome too. Such an honor to read for you guys today. So I thought today we would do an energy check-in. We would get messages from your guides, whatever it is that they want you to know right now, completely leaving it up to them. We will see what messages we get today. So as always, we have, not always, but generally, nearly always, we have three piles. Something on this. And I thought what we would do is infuse the piles with some mermaid beautiful energy, some water energy, some cleansing energy. So we have on each pile, we have a mermaid little icon here, and we have a little message from your mermaid. So that'll help you hopefully choose whichever pile is right for you. So pile 1 is rescue, help others in need or ask for assistance when you need it. So that's pile 1. So if that message, the energy of the message or the energy of the pile is calling to you with the rescue, then that is your pile. Then pile 2, we have stillness. In calm waters, everything becomes clear. So if that mermaid message resonates with you, then that is your pile, pile 2. And then we have guidance. Find safety in your beacon's light. So that's pile 3. So if that energy of the message from the mermaids resonates with you, and that is your pile. And of course, as always, we have our beautiful candle here, but this is not an ordinary candle. No, we have beautiful, let's see, when did I make this? I made this last year, but I made this eclipse oil for harmony, healing, balance, and bringing in any kind of manifestation that you're working on, if it's for the highest of who you are. So you're welcome to use these messages as channels, channeled messages, activations, healing, whatever no longer suits your soul or fits you as you're growing upwards and outwards. Then go ahead and let go into the flame, or you can call in your new reality, whichever way you want to do this. So this is always going to be at the back here of every reading, so that's an extra energy boost for you. So as always, we're just going to take a moment for a lovely deep breath. In, hold, and out. And of course, we'll ask you, like we do in every single session, please take as much time as you need. The more you align with your own instincts, with your own beautiful intuition, the more aligned you will be with these readings and the more they will resonate with you. So if you need to go ahead and pause the video, the timestamps will be down below, and we will be right back after you pause this. So take as much time as you need and use these sessions any way that you feel right, because these are for you. So let's go ahead and move pile 2 and pile 3 out of the way here. Let's see. Wonderful. Okay, my lovelies, if you chose pile 1, then this is your energy check-in, messages from your guides. This is what they want you to know right now. This is a timeless reading. Whenever you click on this video, this reading is for you in this time. So if you chose rescue, help others in need, or ask for assistance when you need it, then these are your messages from your own guides. We're going to start off with, of course, the Unicorn Tarot. We're going to start off with the Unicorn Tarot, and then we have a myriad of different oracle cards here to come in with more messages for you. So let's see what we have here. We have the 8 of Swords, and we have the 3 of Staves, the 3 of Wands here. So a few different things going on. So the first message that we're getting from you, for you, pile 1, is that please understand that wherever you are right now, it is not permanent, And that is a good thing necessarily. There's a lot of great things that are coming for you, so just please hold on. That's the first message. And second message is, we try to give you as much practical advice as we can here. That, obviously, it's totally up to you whether you use it or not. And there's many myriad of different ways to approach anything that anybody tells you. Always listen to your intuition. But practically, you're being asked to look back on everything that you've achieved and everything that you are, and to celebrate that. Even the small things, even the seemingly small things. And here's the reason why, Pile One, because the seemingly small things, we often take for granted because they sort of snowball and bring in more and bring in more. But everything sort of starts with a seed of thought, and then we move forward and we move forward. So they want you to go back and really look at, and one way you can gauge is to look back and gauge the sort of person that you were 5 months ago, 8 months ago, 1 year ago, 18 months ago, 5 years ago, and you will find there is many differences to you. In fact, for most of you, we can say that you're completely different people. So sometimes when you're being down on yourself, and you can, Pile One, especially in and around this time when you've clicked onto this video, because maybe you want things speeded up, or you have an idea of what you want, it's not coming in yet, or there's some kind of self-doubt, or there's some sort of seemingly last minute sort of healing things that you're going through, and it's deep rooted. And you're going through them. You've done the work already. It's not to, as we say on this channel, not to go down the rabbit hole and a bunch more stuff that you need to do, not at all. But because of you've done that work and some stuff might be coming up, you might be wondering as to your progress. And to take tangible action, to really look back and see how different you were and how you are now dealing with things. Now, sometimes we don't think that we're that different, but actually even the smallest tweak in perception can really change our outer reality and bring in so much more, so much quicker. So don't deny or dumb down any of the small aspects of change that you've gone through, because these small aspects, again, can snowball into something absolutely splendid. So you're being asked to look back. You're being asked to look back and celebrate every single aspect of what you've been through, even the small moments of it, because they're connected to bigger moments. And for those of you who are wondering about meeting significant others, if you're on the precipice of meeting a significant other, but if you have not met them yet, there are options for you. There is somebody coming in for you, so do not worry about that. There's lots of different readings that we've done on this channel too, so you might find those really fun. I did them ages ago about your significant other and what they're like and this, that, and the other. There's a whole clump of them I did in a couple of weeks. People were requesting them. It's not necessarily what I do on this channel necessarily. Not really my thing, but people were requesting them so much, and I had so much fun doing them, and I'm glad I did. So you can always check that out for a little extra information. Like I said, they're in this channel a little bit further back. But have no fear, all of that is coming in. We want to remind you of divine timing of this too. Sometimes when we're ready, we say to the universe, all right, I'm ready, and then we forget that there's somebody else involved. There might be a timing element for the other person coming in. Maybe they don't live in and around you right now. They're not in a situation where they might be able to find you or bump into you. For some people, they might be involved in some kind of other relationship that they need to be free of before they meet you. There's all different kinds of energy, sort of quantums that comes into play. So trust that when it comes into this, there's divine timing. Now, I'm getting Archangel Chamiel with you. I don't really work with that Archangel very often. But being told with that Archangel too, and Archangel Metatron for you too, can work with the divine timing aspect of bringing this other person in, and can possibly give you some more information about the energy in and around this person too. But they want you to concentrate on yourself and doing whatever it is that you're doing to secure whoever it is that you are, and keep up with that work. But for those of you who are looking out and sort of longing and wondering if this will happen, Trust us, this year is a very transformative year, and things can happen very quickly, even if you're going through a patch where it seems like everything has slowed down. The timing of this year is really, really strange, where it feels like everything is either ultra slow or ultra quick. Everything happens in a blink of an eye. So even if you're going through this sort of ultra slow period, that's because they want you to slow down and concentrate and go back to the core and heal those. Not crazy on the word heal, because it denotes that, there's something, implies that there's something not whole about us. So that's not exactly, but for want of a word that's universally used. So in the version of reality here that we have, we will use the word healing because it's just for clarity measures. Whatever needs to be healed at its core, you're given a time to slow down to be able to do this, to prepare you for what needs to be done. Now, if you were given everything and that wasn't completely healed, then you would feel sort of out of step with everything that was coming in. You wouldn't be able to be fully present to be able to enjoy it. So there's a timing element to it too. So if you are right now in this place of like seemingly slowing down and then getting frustrated with that because you're feeling your practical mind is coming in and saying, oh my goodness, we're never going to get free, we're never going to move forward. We're always here, we've gone backwards, and some self-doubt is sort of creeping in there. We're here to tell you, don't worry about that. Please don't go down that road. That's not what's happening at all. In fact, you could not be further from what's actually happening. It's the exact opposite. So do a 180 with your perception. Everything's slowing down in order for you to focus on the last remaining sort of things that just need to be cleared up. And again, the healing will come to you quite quickly, because it's not a matter of you've done the healing. It's a matter of tweaking perception. It's almost like you just need to tweak with your perception and upgrade the way in which you see yourself based on the work that you've done. You've already done the work, but what you've not done is upgraded how you feel about yourself since you've done that work. Once that upgrading, and there will be some aha moments. Oh, I get it now. And they won't be small moments. Definitely coming in and integrating the inner child, a reality shift, how you see your reality, what you're asking for now, all of that. And standing in your own truths too, when to speak up, and how to take the world at large, what energy you choose to take on, what energy you choose to leave at the door, as it were. That's the way it was said to me, kind of a strange saying. Not even sure if that's a real saying, but leaving everything at the door that you don't need to bring in with you into the house, into your soul. So it's about not staying safe anymore. There's an element of you that wanted to stay safe, so you tended to back out and have this sort of reality where you could jump in when you wanted to, but it was safe enough to jump out whenever you wanted to. So you're integrating into the world, into sort of the greater reality, but you're doing it on your own terms, and you're doing it in a strong way, knowing who you are and increasing that authenticity. So again, if you're in that slow period, or you're feeling as though you're coming out of it, but there's a little bit of self-doubt that's coming in because of that slow period, please do not worry. Take advantage of this. Rest, listen. A lot of you are very passionate. It's wonderful. You've got that kinetic energy. Go, 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 go. Once you've decided on something, you're absolutely on the way. You're going to get it. But sometimes you spend a lot of time and a lot of energy going for things when things could come to you a lot quicker if you stopped and allowed in that receptive energy and let it come to you. So if you're in the slow period, instead of doubting yourself, really grab and hold on to the fact that this is a slightly slow period, and slow down and rest. In those moments of rest, you will really come into this knowing of things that are just finally clicking for you. It's almost like the minute you stop looking for it, the minute you stop moving forward, all these momentums of moving forward will come to you. So this is not really a slow period for you. So you don't really need to see it like that. And if you are seeing it like that, it's just your practical mind coming in and working with you and maybe sort of trying to protect you and saying, what's going on? Is there any more work that needs to be done? A certain amount of you always feel as though you need to be moving forward, moving forward, moving forward. That's how things happen. You're being asked to recalibrate on that. And again, allow that receptive energy to come to you. meeting you halfway. Trying to get moving forward, not trying to. That word is not in our vocabulary. We either do it or we don't, right? Um, so yeah, just moving forward and expecting. Don't get me wrong, and don't get us wrong. We're not saying that there's no action that's required here, and that's not your problem. Instinctively, you have action. Again, you've got that passion, kinetic energy. It's where you put that action. Sometimes you can be all over the place with that action, and it's just that concentrated sort of knowing that it's coming in. You're being asked to sort of replace or redirect your action so you can get what you want, and you can acquire what you want and attract what you want a lot easier than you've been doing it before. Effortless. So let's see what we have. Adorn the temple, absolutely. This again is back with the resting and practice daily. This is about coming into this new way of thinking, and this is going to sound a little strange for you, and there's nothing egotistical about it, but we just want you to have an open mind. It's just that where your energy is first and everybody else is secondary. And this is the way we want you to see it initially, because you're used to bringing in everybody else's energy. You're used to bringing in everybody else's viewpoint. And the energy of the external and melding it with your own energy. Now we're asking you to practice daily this understanding of really putting your energy first. Now, you don't have to fuse your energy with everybody else's to find the ultimate truth. You're just watering down your own energy. Even if you get up one day and you have an idea of what the truth is, the universe will work with you solidly throughout that time period, pulling away what really isn't true and bringing you back to your true center. You don't need to bring in the external world and filter everything through that to come to your own truth. So you're being asked to put your own energy first, your own sense of truth first. And again, if you're a little bit off, because there's many different versions of the truth, but of course universal truth is allowing for all different forms of truth coming in. But if you're way off in any way, you still don't need to bring in the external. The universe, your guides will work with you and slowly sort of bump you back to where you need to be. So you're being asked to put your energy completely first. And for those of you who on paper it seems absolutely wonderful, but at the same time it seems a little bit strange to you. It seems a little bit selfish. It doesn't seem like a priority for you, or it makes you just feel a little squirmish in your skin when somebody says to you, put yourself first. For those of you who are feeling this way, you are the ones that need to put your energy first, completely and totally. Your truth, even if your truth needs tweaking with, it doesn't matter. Even if you're not quite where you need to be perception-wise, it doesn't matter. You're being asked not to perceive it, not to integrate it from the outer world anymore. Now, if you need to protect yourself through social media and all sorts of things until you make this your daily practice, and it's absolutely there. Now, we're not saying that nobody else's opinion ever matters or anything like this. We're not coming from the ego here. So let's get that straight now. And for those of you who are resonating with this reading, you should probably understand that. I'm sure that you do. It's not coming from the ego. It's not like, I've got my truth, you've got yours. It's just that it doesn't need to be filtered through anything external right now, because there's so much energy going on and it's so heightened, it's just not going to help you. So your truth will be flexible, and it will be able to move and be melded by you and your guides, but it's putting your energy first. And to be cliche, but that's the thing that's coming to me right now, that image of you can't pour from an empty cup. So for those of you who are feeling like, okay, I know I need to do this, I've been doing this, but sometimes I slip, or it still doesn't feel quite natural. Make this your daily practice. That is their main message to you too. And also with the resting, again, go back to what we initially said to reiterate. All of those small moments were not small moments for you. So go back and celebrate every single one of them. And really insist on this rest. And we're not talking about rest where you allow yourself that 20 minutes and then you've got 10 chores you need to do. We mean if, and of course this might be a luxury, but if you're in a position to take some time completely to yourself where you're doing absolutely nothing and there's no excuses to do absolutely nothing, you're not making any excuses, you're just doing it for the sake of doing it. We want you to get used to putting that energy into your life, because there's this energy in and around a lot of you that an extraordinary amount of work needs to be done in order to gather, attract whatever it is that you want. And everything is requiring hard work. Now, you've been working on this, and certain aspects of it you've already broken down within your psyche. But here's the thing, it's actually not true. And it's going, for some of you, it could go against you just a little bit. So in the resting, putting yourself first, reestablishing yourself with your authenticity, what's that's doing? It's rewiring your brain and telling your brain and saying, we're not doing this anymore. We're not working really, really hard to get. Now, that's not to say that there's not action, but that's not your problem. You always have action. You're always going to be moving forward. This is really just more about tweaking your perception to understand that things can be a lot easier, to expect things a lot easier, and to let go of things, let go of the outcome. Once you're in alignment, that's absolutely fine. Now, you can't be in alignment with whatever it is that you want if you're always striving to get it. At some point, you need to let it go in order to have the energy in and around it for it to allow to come to you. And that's where you're sort of not falling short, but that's where some of you could be getting some of the frustration. So concentrating on yourself, filtering out the energy of the external, getting that rest, knowing that everything's coming to you, and proper rest where it's just you and you're literally doing nothing, absolutely nothing. You're doing what you enjoy and coming back to yourself. In these moments, you will find that your sense of perception will change. And also, as things come in, as you start sort of chilling out and doing this and bringing your energy back to center, what will happen is you'll get these beautiful aha moments. And certain opportunities will start coming into you, so you can test the universe. So in a tangible form, you'll be able to see that when you do less, but hold the intention of who you are, hold the knowledge that it's coming to you, be complete alignment with what you're doing, but essentially completely let it go, you'll be able to see little aspects of it coming back to you in a tangible way that doesn't really happen in the same sort of way when you're constantly striving to get there. When you're constantly striving to get there, of course you see the initial payoff of certain things coming in because you're putting so much energy into it, but it always falls flat, and you get to that point, it doesn't go any further, and then it's very frustrating. So this is a way for you to move forward by doing less, but in actuality, you're not doing less, because for most of you, this is not going to be easy for you to do. But trust us, this will work. This will absolutely work. Taking time for yourself is wonderful. And it's much needed for you too, because all that time and effort that you put into moving forward, you don't always give yourself enough downtime for all of that information and that energy to upgrade and integrate in the way that it can, so it can be of optimum use to you. So if anything, allow yourself to slow down, so all of the work that you've been doing can integrate and bring you closer to what it is that you want. Oh my goodness. At day's end, rest. Again, rest card. Fairy energy here, elemental energy here. Lighten up, get into the air energy, get into the inner child, unicorn energy, come back to, childlike energy. I find peace in nature and rest my body and mind in order to connect to spirit. Absolutely. Rest. So when you rest, couldn't have put it better myself. When you rest, you do come back to nature, you come back to spirit, you come back to a leveled opportunity to work with the universe in a new way. New ideas come to you. You understand yourself better. You're more connected to yourself. You have a clearer vision of what you want. This is all integral to what is going on right now with you. So just allow yourself that peace and that time. Even if you spend the entire day watching horror movies, if that's your love, that's fine. No one's judging you or telling you how to take that rest. Just do it on your own terms. It will look different to everyone. And let's pick one more card from Lord Ganesha here. So you've got the rescue card here. So now we can go back with the overarching message of the rescue card. Help others in need or ask for assistance when you need it. Absolutely. So now going back to that, didn't even realize the rescue energy, your guides are coming in trying to help you too. And also that need for you to want to help people. Absolutely. You'll always have that to be of service. But again, you can help more people if you help yourself. There's this really brief story that I never really believed until recently. When I trained as a Reiki master, my Reiki master at the time gave me this story about a doctor in a mental institution in Hawaii. I believe it was the Big Island. And it was a really rough mental institution, and they couldn't staff it because staff wouldn't stay. A lot of the patients were violent, and it was just massively underfunded. So he was brought in from the mainland. He was brought in from California, I believe, and he went in and he looked through everything. He looked through the hospital, the mental hospital, and he said, I will absolutely work on this. Within 6 months this hospital will be closed, everybody will be healed. And the nurses were really impressed, and they said, okay, so we'll see you tomorrow. And they said, oh no, I'll never set foot back in here again. And everybody was completely confused, of course. What he did is he went home and he meditated on healing himself in those 60 days. And every time he healed himself and he moved forward, and he concentrated on this the entire time, worked with the universe, let go of everything that wasn't working for him. And every single week, it started to get less violent. They were able to get more staff. The patients were doing really well. Some of them didn't need medication anymore. And lo and behold, after the 60 days, everybody was healed. And they shut the doors. There was no need to have that mental institution anymore. In fact, there isn't a mental institution on the Big Island anymore, as far as I know. So this happened many, many moons ago. And when I first read this, I thought to myself, all right, Reiki's Reiki, that's fine. But I didn't believe it because this is such an extreme story. Then I started really working on my own energy, and I started noticing that everything around me, like physically in my universe, physically in my reality, people were coming back to me that, previously needed to be healed. And I went out of my way, gave all of my energy, which is something you shouldn't do. Do whatever you need to do, but it's not why we're here to put ourselves last and make sure, everybody's being healed around us. That's what we do as empaths, but it's not healthy. Not healthy. We need to have boundaries. But I was doing that, pulling my energy back, healing myself. I noticed that all of these people came back and they were doing really wonderfully. And all sorts of things were happening in my life. And at the beginning, they were seemingly insignificant. It's one person here reaching out, one person there. And then all of a sudden, things that I've always wanted started popping up out of nowhere. And all I was doing was just working on myself. I wasn't even reaching out to these people. I wasn't doing anything that was really tangible in the world. So that is your story for you, Pile 1, for proof that this is where you're at. This is where the true power is. And you're being asked to call on that power now because you're absolutely ready to be able to do this. And again, effortless. Less is more for you. And that is a huge amount of action. There's nothing passive about working on yourself. And just work on yourself for the sake of working on yourself. I wasn't doing it for anybody to come back into my life or this, that, and the other. I just wanted to be as clear as I could be on this earth to do the best that I could be, the best person I could be. That was my motivation, and it all came in. And this is number 3 coming in. So soul family, celebration, again, celebrating you, so you can have a firmer platform and integrate yourself into the world, and bring in the right people in and around you, and delight in your life. So you can have that beautiful, delightful atmosphere in your life where everything does come easy and it seems like a dream, and it is possible. It might seem impossible, and again, if your ego or your practical mind saying that seems a little lula or a little woo-woo, totally understand that. I was there too until I started doing the work. So capacity to love too. It's a place for you to put your love back into yourself. If you're looking for a little extra help too, the ultimate update, May update energy too. I will link that down below. That gives you an idea of how to work with your ego, if this is something that you want to work with, because you can make friends with your ego. The ego holds the key for this month, particularly in the month of May. And for you, those of you who are still clicking on this video in and around the month of May of 2021, you'll be able to work with your ego It has so much to show you and so much to work with, so much healing capacity there. And there's some really tangible ways to be able to do that. So I'll link that video down below if you're interested too, as an extra vavum for you to be able to bring in this beautiful energy and opportunity for you to get back to self, put yourself first, and know who you are. So this is what we have for you, Pile 1. Hopefully we gave you some messages, some practical advice, some more support outside of this reading too. So feel free to let us know in the comments, of course, like, subscribe, whatever it is that you feel like you want to do. We'd love to have you here if you're not already. And sending you so much love and light. Go be you, because the world needs you exactly as free as a bird as you can get. And this is the closest, this is how you will do it. You will do it, and you're in the right frame mind to do that. And this is a time for you, again, if you're not connected with somebody, to get all your energy together, and so you can enjoy this new person coming in, and obviously other people too, celebration groups, soul family coming into, lots of good times. So take this time to relax and go be you. Until we see you again and meet with you again, stay safe and sane. Take care, Pile. Okay, our wonderful Pile 2s, if you chose the stillness card, in calm waters, everything becomes clear. Don't forget we have the magic candle working for us too, honoring the energy of this reading. So again, your energy check-in, a timeless reading, messages from your guides, what they want you to know right now, any practical advice they can give you right now, whatever it is that you're feeling. So we're going to start off with our oracle, with our tarot cards, and of course we have the unicorn tarot, and then we're going to move in with some extra information here with our myriad of different oracles here. So we have the 5 of rods, we have the 5 of wands here, and we have the lovers. Yay, absolutely. So we have a few different messages coming in for you, Pile 2. So the first, there's many different ways, there's a few different ways to read the Lover's card. So for you, what I'm feeling is this energy of coming back to oneself and not fighting within, the divine masculine, the divine feminine coming back as a balanced state. When to move forward, when to stay put, when to utilize your energy. Really, the biggest thing for you is where you're putting your energy. Watch where you're putting your energy. That's the main message that I'm getting from your guides. Is it worth your energy? So we always want to give you some practical advice, not just the reading, but what you can do. Whether you use it or not, it's completely up to you, of course, because, always listen to your intuition. But before you go down that road of giving anything or anyone your energy, ask yourself, is it worth it? Now, it may seem egotistical, but what do I get from it? It's not egotistical. It's really important for you to do it. Because sometimes you're putting your energy out there and it's getting sort of like out there in the universe. And it's like, if you're getting triggered by something, that's totally fine for you to dial it back and see where it comes from. But the initial trigger is never, usually never, exactly, there's something deeper. It's triggering you at a different level. So you're not actually working with the trigger. You're saying, all right, I'm not working with the trigger. This is a way for me to figure out and go beyond the information. What's really going on here? Let me pull back the layers. So even in a trigger type situation, and we're just giving you this as an example, even in a trigger type situation, you're not actually dealing with the trigger. The actual trigger, the actual person that's brought in something that's triggering you really isn't what needs to be dealt with. So you don't need to put your energy there. Energy needs to come inwards, and again, peel back the layers so you can figure out what needs to happen so you're not triggered by this anymore. So there's an essence of coming into harmony, divine feminine, divine masculine. And again, is this worth my time? Is this worth my effort? Is this worth my energy? Where your energy is going to. If you're reading something and it really makes you angry that this person is thinking this way or this, that, and the other, does it serve your energy to get angry at that, or to go into a mind space where you're trying to figure it out? Now, a lot of this can be under the guise of but if I figure this out, if I can figure this out and break this down, then in the future this isn't going to bother me. I need to figure this out So I know for myself what I stand for. There's a lot of different ways that your mind and your ego might be working with you to tell you that you need to go down these roads, that you need to figure this out. This is really important. Your energy needs to be here. But we want you to go with your heart. We want you to go with your intuition. We want you to go with your heartfelt center. Do you really need to put your energy out there? Is it really integral to your self-development to go down there in that way and give energy? Now, you don't have to, you're not necessarily giving energy to a particular person or engaging with that person, but the energy of that person that's coming into your space might be triggering or might be annoying you, and you're taking in that energy to break down that energy to see where you really fit in that. Do you see where that goes? It just goes on and on and on. It really doesn't. At some point you can just say, that's what you think, that's fine. There's so many different varying points out there. A lot of people are mentioning or insisting that that is the truth, it's the way. A lot of people have a very specific view of things. And that's fine. Everybody has free will. Everybody has their own version of truth. It does not bring you closer to your truth, your understanding of what you believe, by taking in everybody else's point of view and filtering your point of view through theirs. It doesn't. If anything, really holding ground and saying, I'm not taking anybody else's point of view. I'm not integrating anything right now from anybody else. I need to come back to center and see what feels better for me. You will sleep better. You will feel clearer. You will have a better sense of self. You will be less fearful. There's a lot of stuff going on about a lot of different things. And it really just needs to come down to what you feel. It really just needs to come down to your intuitions and what your guides are telling you, what's in your heart space. That's it. There's a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of other things, and that's fine. There might always be a certain amount of fear out there. But when you're taking in the energy of other people, there might be a little bit of fear underlying that, even though they might make sense, or they have a reason behind it, or even if you agree with them to a certain extent, there's still an amount of fear coming in around that reasoning. So what you're doing as you bring in that reasoning, you're bringing in that fear. You're bringing in their fear too. You don't need that. Now, when you do this constantly, you're bringing in other people's fear, and it's staying there because what you're doing, you're harboring it, you're keeping it because you're trying to work with the energy and breaking it down so you can get to your truth. But what you're doing is you have to go through all that fear, and it's affecting you in ways that may not be completely obvious. It's not keeping your channels clear. And it's kind of gumming you up a little bit, and that fear could be holding you back from your own point of view and being clear about what you believe and what your guides are telling you. So in that stillness, again, in calm waters, see, now coming back to this, in calm waters, everything becomes clear. In order for you to become calm waters, you have to clear out what's coming into your stratosphere. So we can stop that internal fighting, which is not intrinsically coming from you. And your beautiful understanding of wanting to be there for people and really wanting to bring in everybody else's point of view and respecting other people's point of view. By the way, we're not saying not to do that. You can respect everybody's point of view without bringing it into your space. And absolutely. In fact, you will respect people's points of view even more if you're not taking on any of that energy. So literally do what you're doing, except don't bring in that energy to kind of dismantle it and see how it goes. It's like saying, all right, I'm gonna look into conspiracy theories and see where they are, and then go down the conspiracy theory hole for 40 days and lose your mind. I mean, it's just like, what's the point? Even as I'm just saying that, the energy of just taking on that 40 days, my head's already spinning. I can't imagine physically doing that. So it's just like, sometimes in order to know the truth, we need to pull back from all of the energy and not go into absolutely everything that everybody's saying about it. We need to get that objective viewpoint. So that was just an example. So it's just, in order to find the truth, you need to come back to your own center, and your own center, your own gauge will find the own truth for you. Now, your truth might look a little bit different to somebody else's. You might make different decisions based on what your truth tells you. But if you're in line, if you're calm and you're clear about this, your angels will tell you you're fine. No matter what you choose, you will be protected. So it doesn't matter. It's your choice. It's free will. You are going to be protected. Everything's going to be fine. But we want you to be able to make a choice based on what you truly feel. Not, you're not making tons of lists of this, that, and the other. Now, for in the past, that may have worked for you, pros and cons. I've done this before. That's wonderful. But really, at the end of the day, sometimes what's best for you can be more on the cons list, in many ways. Sometimes that happens. If your inner being and your heart is telling you that's where you want, at the end of the day, you absolutely know which way is for you, and you will know your best path. So if any of you have been feeling a little conflicted, feeling a little frustrated, this is a way for you to bring yourself back to center, get yourself, your mind clear. Meditation can certainly do that, but cut off the energy from the outside world and deal with your own energy. And also, feel free to do a cleansing exercise if you need to, of any of that remnants from energy that you've brought in from the external world, because there's still some lingering sort of energetic fields of fear that is not yours that you can go ahead and release. Go out into nature, earthing, that will definitely do that. Be very clear about some of it's in your throat chakra and your heart chakra too, but it could be anywhere, and it's not staying and it's not yours, and none of it's a big deal. It's just a matter of being aware of it, where it's living, and literally just let it feed out of your body and your psyche, and you will feel very, very different. So getting out in nature, getting that vitamin D, again, putting your feet in nature. We've got the earthing, letting all of that go, and actually speaking to your guides. Help me locate all of that extra fear that isn't mine, that I brought in. You didn't know necessarily that it was coming in with an extra load of fear, but it was. So, and that's fine. People are afraid right now. There's, totally see why. But it's also, it's hindering people's version of what could be too. And I think people are definitely looking to the practical mind for a lot of things right now. And again, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with that at all. Absolutely. For you, it'll be an amalgam of everything, but your final choice will be in your heart space chakra, and just learning the truth for you. You do things uniquely. You do things outside of the box. Sometimes you choose a way to move forward, and it doesn't make sense to people at all. So you're used to, at this point, not necessarily checking in with absolutely everybody, that, when you make decisions, but you've always landed on your feet, even when it looked like you shouldn't have. You've always landed on your feet. So remember, whatever you choose for yourself will be right for you. It may not look right for other people, but again, getting back to that clarity, getting back to that stillness, at least you've made the right decision for yourself. So yeah, really cleanse out some of that energy, and God love you. The sweetness of you wanting to really be there and present for everybody's energy. The reasoning for bringing in all this energy, which is now sort of fighting within a little bit internally, was because you have such a gracious heart. You want everybody to be okay. You want to be of service. You want to give everybody their point of view. And again, we're not telling you not to, but you don't need to take in the energy to figure it out. So here we go. Be ecstatic. Absolutely. And what's this other one too? And be a channel. Absolutely. So this is, empaths too, channels too. We often bring in other people's energy. It's just that when we try to figure out what we stand for and who we are, or authentic selves, yes, we are connected to every single one of us, but we also have a unique blueprint here. So as a channel, to be clear and to be able to reach the heights that we want to get to, we have to learn to expel other people's energy. We have to learn to connect to ourselves completely. So this is coming in for you. Your message is you're getting a ton of support from the stillness and the clarity that you are receiving from your guides right now. They really want you to sort of tweak your perception, work in a little bit of a different way, more of a solo affair, but working with them one-on-one, or one-on-many with your guides and with the universe, trusting the universe to cleanse out the old, and really getting back. This is a way to get back to really understand what makes you tick, who you are. You have a very unique viewpoint, but you've always mostly brought in everybody else's viewpoint too. And while you still have your own viewpoint, it's still a matter of standing that ground and not being of influence to others. Some of you may not be So the earthing could be really good for you. Some of you are very earthy, but maybe not that grounded. But you could be grounded. The reason why you're not that grounded is because you take in so much energy all the time, and you're not always expelling the energy that you take in at a rate that you're taking it in. So a lot of how you might be feeling, if you're feeling a little clunky, feeling a little down, feeling a little heavy, feeling, some shadow stuff, most of this is probably not even your energy at all. Not at all. So again, use that clarity to go earth, to clear out that energy in meditations. Be mindful about your meditation. Speak to your guides and say, this meditation is absolutely about removing 100% this energy that's lingering in my system. And again, this is not energy that's integrating necessarily, but this is in your system. So it's very simple to get rid of. But it's energy that's lingering in a way that's culminating and bringing you down, and it's also something that you need to sort of inherently do probably every day, because even when you're not aware of it, you might be bringing stuff in. But that's fine, because if you know how to expel it, then you'll be fine. But this right now is about you going in and expelling an enormous amount of energy, probably from the last year, on and off. To really come back to center in that stillness and reach that beautiful ecstatic sense. I'm making you very clear about your next move, making you very clear about what it is that you want, making it clear about shifting your relationships, any relationship that you have right now, and relationships coming in, including lovers, significant other coming in, but increasing the relationships that you have around you, because some of you feel as though you just the recovery time for you can feel it. You need to go off and have your own time. So for some of you, some people might be like, having people around you going, oh, you never hang out anymore, I never see you anymore. Or if you have a lot of this and you feel as though you need a lot more downtime, if you work on this energy and you expel it, you constantly get into this really, really short sequence of being, having those boundaries in your energy, not allowing that energy in, and then expelling at the end of the day, that you won't feel so drained, and you can integrate in a way that has that clarity and stillness. Bring your own blueprint, work on your own blueprint in this universe. Again, make choices that are best for you and no one else. You do not need to explain yourself. No one needs to explain themselves with any choices that they make. They absolutely do not. They are right for you, and you will feel in your heart what that is. Even if it's not for the norm, that's fine. It works for you. You're protected no matter what. So it's just a matter of getting into the sequence of really expelling all of this extra energy, and then from now on in, constantly cleansing for you. It'll allow you to come back into your grounded state a lot more. You'll feel completely different. You'll be able to integrate yourself a lot more. You'll be able to hang out with more people, and also it'll set up this path of clarity for you, where you're making room for new people, new experiences, new loves to come in, because they are knocking on that door trying to come in, and some of you are exhausted. But again, this is not a big deal. This is just an understanding and a perception, and just these little things that need to do. And sometimes the smallest little exercises can just change our lives forever, when we realize that, oh my goodness, I feel completely different now. I don't know why I haven't been doing this for 10 years. It absolutely can. None of this needs to be a big ordeal. You don't need to go to school to learn how to do any of this stuff. Like, this is really simple. All right, so we have Earth Angel here again, getting back into the earth, grounding. I'm a guardian of Mother Earth and protect all who live on her. And this is definitely you. You definitely, and that's one of the reasons why you want to bring everybody, or bring all in all energies. All energies are safe here, and that's wonderful. And you're not going to change with that. This is not an ego thing. You're never going to come out and go, you're wrong, you're right, I don't need to mess with your energy, you're not there yet. It's not looking down on anyone or doing any of that stuff, or, be quote unquote sort of enlightened or whatever, and people who don't get it are sheep and all of that other rubbish. It's not about that at all. It's about you being you. You've gone the other way to accept everybody, all of that energy coming in, and we're human. we're complex, you know. Even if we're spiritual and we're doing our best, we still have heightened awareness of fear. We still have this confusion and frustration. When you bring in all that energy, you're bringing that energy to all of them. And you know, you can help people more by expelling that energy and coming back to center and seeing everybody exactly the same. We're on the same level, we're all doing our best. And you of all people can appreciate that if you go off and veer off in a completely different direction, and you take an action that not everybody agrees with, that you know, you're doing it and you understand where you're coming from and it's best for you, but you can accept what everybody else is doing. So you can understand that more than anybody. So you're not going to, you know, you're going to be much more clear about wanting to protect others, wanting to integrate the energy of others without taking on their energy, and respecting their viewpoint. More than anybody else, you are here to do that without a shadow of a doubt. And you know more than anybody that, you know, people's actions that they do may not make sense at the time. And even if their actions seem kind of out of alignment with what we perceive as spirituality, trust that even though they're going off the boards a little bit and they're saying this and they're saying that, they're going to come back. They're going to figure it out. This is just their way. They're filtering the information in their own way, and in their own way, they're going to come back to center. It's just sometimes, you know, the way in which we heal, we have to go veer off one direction and then veer off in another direction to balance. We have no idea of the past of people when they're talking what experiences they had. Sometimes they have to veer off in a really, what we might perceive as a crazy direction to balance out something. But then with that balancing out, they actually do come back to balance. You know, I've often done some crazy things because I was so far out of balance that I had to come into like, you know, veer off in a completely different direction. That was a complete 180 that made no sense. But in that final action, I was able to balance both of those energies, because even though I was doing both complete extremes, it made no sense to everybody else, but I was able to balance. Now, as I move forward, I stopped doing, I was able to integrate energy so I didn't have to work from extremes anymore. But you know, we're in a society where we work in extremes. This is the way that some people might be working out their balance, by working through the extremes. So we never know what anybody's going through. We never know where they've come from. So their decisions for them are never right or wrong. They're right for them. That's great. We can back off and let everybody be themselves. And, you know, we don't even know that where they're going to end up. You know, they might be going down crazy train right now from our perception, but that crazy train is going to bring them back exactly where they need to be. And, you know, in a year or two time, you know, you'll have a conversation with them. Oh my God, you're amazing. You know, so we got to give people room to be who they are. That's what you do, but you'll be able to do it better if you put your energy first and make sure that while everybody's maybe going on crazy train, which everybody has a right to do, you're not taking on that energy right now, right? We don't need any crazy train energy right now. You just need to come back to you in the stillness, work with what you have, but respect where everybody is, obviously. Let everybody have the crazy train, because it's all part and parcel of where they need to be. And but just not get into any of that, coming back to center. And that's how you will come back to the divine feminine, the divine masculine, coming in and balancing out. Because when you are balanced, you are just beautiful and so in tune with who you are and your next step. So coming back, if some of you have felt like you've been out of step a little while, this is a really easy thing for you to do. Definitely more vitamin D, getting out there, earthing, and just putting yourself in the energy of whatever it is that you choose. But just be really careful about the energy that you're bringing in for now. But you can wish everybody well. You know, I totally respect where you're coming from. It's not where I'm coming from right now, but that's cool. We're all going to end up in the same place, right? We're all going to go back to nature. We're all going to go back to the universe. We're all going to become source. We are source right now, but we're all going to go back to source. We absolutely are, no matter what. So the choices that we make in this lifetime can bring us this sort of heaven on earth a little bit closer and sooner if we want. Absolutely, that is our option. But we're always going back to source anyway. So whatever you do, you're protected. Whatever you do, you're protected. You're going to be okay. There's almost no wrong or right way to do things. But there are things to choose that are better in alignment with you, for sure. We're not saying, but the concept of right and wrong has been sort of hijacked in a way that is just, that I think seems to be confusing people. So don't need that confusion. Don't need that fear or whatever that's going around right now. Perseverance, absolutely. This is you to a T. Really, taking apart the radio, trying to put it back together, taking everything apart, trying to do your patience. Some of you are extremely impatient in some ways, but when it comes to like healing and getting things done, you really understand that things do take a lot of time and effort, and you're willing to put in all of that time and effort. But what we're saying to you is that it may not take as much time and effort as you think. So we do appreciate the perseverance that you have, that beautiful perseverance that you have. But actually, a lot of that time and patience has been taken by figuring out the integration of energy that you've pulled in. If you come back to source, if you come back to yourself completely, you won't need a lot of this perseverance that you're using. You won't be so exhausted again. You can come back to a grounded center of who you are, and move forward a lot quicker. You'll be a lot lighter. I want you to come back to the ecstatic state. And also, it's really important, you're very, very talented channels. You're very talented intuitives, empaths, alchemists. So coming back to your own sense of power, when you are clear, you will be able to do your job, whatever it is that you feel, and everybody has their own blueprint, your own unique blueprint to be of service. You'll be you're already a clear channel. You're a very clear channel, but you'll be able to do more with your energy. You're a clear channel on a limited basis. If you want to get a little bit further out, it's just a matter of clearing out your energy to be a clearer channel for more people. So this is just another way for you to do what you're supposed to do. Absolutely. Let's pull one more card from Lord Ganesha here, to end your reading. But you're in a beautiful place, and we don't want you to think in any way, shape, or form that this is a big thing. You've done so much of the work. We just want you to be able to see the clarity of vision that you have from all the work that you've done, all the self-work that you've done. And this you will be able to do more once you are very clear of your energy is clear. Your energy pattern is completely clear and free from others. So protection, absolutely. What have we been saying all along? So this is just letting you know, again, you have ultimate protection from source. You know which way to move. You know whatever you choose will be in alignment with who you are. We just want you to make these choices without any of the fear and confusion that's in and around right now. And again, totally understand why that fear and confusion is there. Before anything that moves forward, there's usually, if not always, some kind of chaos. But you're here to work through that chaos. That's fine. We just don't want you to bring in extra chaos for you to work through. It's just not necessary at this moment. You don't need to be a filter for it anymore. You will be a better filter for the world, for everybody in and around you, if you come back to that sense of balance and moving forward with your intuition. So for you, it's mainly about coming back to the divine feminine, coming back to that intuition, where you need to be, coming back into that heart space, and using that active divine masculine for the protection, saying, all right, almost like a nightclub. A bouncer at a nightclub. All right, guys, you can't come in here. Sorry, we're at capacity right now. You don't need to come in here. And let the divine feminine, have fun in the nightclub, sort of free to do whatever they need to do. And you have every right to dance in that nightclub completely alone. This is a very random image that I'm getting. Really random. That's what I've got. You've got the bouncer outside saying, you know what? No one's coming in. Sorry, kids, not tonight. And your inner child, your magic, your beauty, your divine feminine is dancing on their own, having a great time. There might be a couple bartenders in there that you've let in. You totally understand who they are. They're really great because you want to hang out with somebody. But you get that entire dance floor to yourself, and you get to do that. And clear out all of that energy and coming back to self. So through the stillness, everything, and calm waters, everything becomes clear. So we hope we gave you a little bit of intuition, a little bit of advice, and some practical ways for you to ground into the energy. And again, just learning how to do this constantly, and keep up with it. Even if you think you don't need it, do that 10-minute meditation every day and do it with the intention of clearing. Get it used to your system. Even when you get used to doing it and you're feeling really grounded, you're feeling really, secure into yourself, you have the type of personality where you're like, I've got this now, I've got this, and you are very strong. But it would be good for you to do this on a practical level every day anyway. Regardless of whether you feel grounded or not anyway. It's just a good practice for you to get into. So yeah, that's what we have for you, pal, too. If it resonated, feel free to, thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon and all that other stuff that goes on with this. Whatever it is you want to do, we'd love to have you here if you're not here already. And we're sending you so much love and light. Go be you. You've got so much strength and so much beauty. So stay safe and sane until we see you and meet with you again. Bye-bye. Hey, my lovelies, if you are pile 3, this is yours. Let's not forget we have our magic candle also. We have your card that says guidance. Find safety in your beacon's light. So if you chose this, this is your energy check-in. It's a timeless reading, so anytime you click on this, it should resonate. Messages from your guides, what they want you to know right now. We're giving you some practical advice to how to integrate what they're telling you right now. So we're going to start off with tarot, and of course we have the unicorn tarot, and then we have a myriad of different oracle cards to get you more messages. So let's get you right into your reading here. So we have the Tower reversed, and we have the 6 of Cups. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So the first message that we're getting is keep going and well done. So a lot of you have come through something that's it's been quite incredible one way or another. It in many ways it appeared in your life as something that happened that was quite sudden. But really what it was is that it was the healing process. It got to the point where you did so much work that so much was able to be pulled down at one time. But in that pulling down, in that one action of everything pulling down, it could have been very overwhelming, a little disconcerting, because, a lot of, we have systems of thought within us because, we're human and we live on the earth and there's a society. And even though aspects of that society is crumbling, and even though many of you didn't subscribe to any of that, we're still bound by an aspect of it. So you might have been blindsided slightly when you had this sort of really dramatic pulling down of everything. And of course, that if we're built up in and around with these understandings, even if we don't subscribe to them, even if they have been painful for us, but they leave, it still could be overwhelming and a little bit confusing because, in that action, everything's being pulled down and pulled away, but we're not quite in that steady action of seeing the clarity of what we're left with, which is nothing. And some of you have gone through the point where you came to this, all of this happened, it all sort of pulled down, you were overwhelmed, and then you were in this sort of void because we're told in society in many ways too that certain things that you subscribe to be like, and if we don't have this and we don't have that, then who are we? And even though you never subscribed to it, it's gone. And there was a part of you that was still trying to cling on to some of them because at least they were familiar. You knew that you didn't want them, but there was just this kind of confusing phase. But we want to remind you that you, in many ways, it was on the cards, pardon the pun, but it was on the cards because you had been working diligently toward that to pull everything down. And there's a part of your system too, the way in which we learn things is almost always in part with the experience that we want, even if we don't think we want it. Our higher self is always working for us. And sometimes they give us experiences that are perceived as, negative or wrong or bad, right? And that's the way with our polarity thinking that we think. But actually, when we go through these circumstances, we can see actually they weren't bad. This is kind of what I needed. And it's brought me to the other side. And now I can see that I needed that to be able to see this and X, Y, and Z. It's part of a larger picture. But we often, and it's completely natural, we all do it. Every single one of us goes through something that we perceive as bad, right? But the higher self is actually working always working with us. and working in tandem with the energy that we have. Now, some of you, we're just going to do a little real talk here, pile three. Some of you have kind of a little bit of a dramatic thing going on. And also, more specifically, you test the universe in certain ways, and you don't always, and this is a beautiful thing about you too. You in many ways, there's a naivety to you, certainly. There's definitely a naivety to you, which is absolutely sweet and kind of like, oh my goodness, very childlike and gorgeous. But there's also this part of you that doesn't believe anything. Which is also gorgeous too. It's like, you've had the wool pulled out of your eyes too many times. You're not doing that anymore. You don't take things on a basis, and you have this kind of like, you have this really unique personality where you have a sense of both. Like, I think I've said this before, when you take one of those Golden Girls tests, for instance. If you've ever seen the Golden Girls, like you would be a Rose, that real naive kind of, but then you've got that real sort of Dorothy, cutting edge, not taking any of that, sort of that, you've got those two seemingly opposing sides, but not really, to your personality. So you do work with the universe, and you don't suffer fools lightly. So, in this healing affair that's going on with you, you might have asked for something, whether you realize it or not. Ask for the dramatic sense of it, because the payoff will be so dramatic that you'll be able to see it, and then you won't be able to deny that it happened. You work with this sometimes, pile three, where something really huge happens, and then you're like, oh my God, that was amazing. And then the next day you'll be like, oh, maybe that didn't really happen, or it did really happen, or maybe it wasn't as big as I thought it was, or you'll downplay it in some way. So your higher self was working on this, so you would not deny that this happened. You would integrate everything that happened, and you could not go back later on and go, oh yeah, that happened, but you know what, I got through it, and I seem to be the same. This was undeniable. This was brand new. This was a falling down of all structures. This is something that will never be the same again. You will never be the same again. And this is something that you needed to be able to see. And the experience that was given to you in this way is so it was undeniable. And you will never, ever second guess it. Okay, and then the other side of it is that you could see on the other side that everything that you wanted was on the other side of it. It was always there. It's just a matter of our perceptions that hold us back from seeing what was always there. Those perceptions have been pulled down. And again, some of this could have been, very uncomfortable for you, and it could have seemed quite violent, because everything is happening quite quickly at the same time, being pulled down at the same time. However, you've come out on the other side of that now. And some of you could have been, on the other side of that, there could have been a void moment where there was nothing to cling back onto, and it was very confusing and a little bit debilitating for you. But you, and even if this is resonating with you, you might be at different points with this. So if you are at the tower level, most of you are coming out on the other side of it now. But if you're on the tower level where everything is being pulled down, we want to remind you that you're being protected. That everything that's being pulled away from you right now is not anything that you needed. Nothing that you needed is being pulled away from you right now. And yes, it could be very disconcerting, and we're sending you a blanket of love right now, absolutely, because, some of your personality or some of the way that you operated in the world, even though you didn't really subscribe to it, was caught up in that. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Everybody is like that. Even if we don't subscribe to it, we have to live in the world, right? Unless, you live in a cabin in Montana and you never see anybody and you grow off the land, which sounds wonderful actually, but unless you're doing that and you literally pulled yourself out of society, and you're not really here to do that. You can do an essence of that, but you're actually here to integrate. You're actually here to be to share your light, to be that. And this is how you get your energy too. So there's an aspect of you that might want to live in the woods and do, well, that's wonderful, but you will be integrated into the world. So if you're coming out on the other side of that, hold on. Yes, nothing will never be the same. And yes, it can feel very disconcerting right now, but you will be on the other side of that. Now, when you come out on the other side of that, you get to regroup in a brand new way. And it is a brand new way. It's completely different to the way that you've been before. So your new version of family, people coming into soul family, people coming in, even people returning into your life that were there before. Now it's up to you whether you want to let them in, and there's different versions of events where you do and you don't, and you can let them in at a sort of a very specific level, but they don't have to be fully integrated. That is up to you. You're free to choose, as always, and listen to your intuition about how people are integrated in. If there is a sort of sinking feeling in your stomach, then the people coming, because they're going to be attracted to this new energy. That might be something for you to explore a little bit more. Maybe, you don't need to get involved back in with that person, but if a person comes in where something has happened before and they're coming in and your energy is like that, because you're working the system. What you're doing is you're pulling down on every level and healing on every level. So when you went through this tower moment, you didn't just heal on a physical level. You healed on a spiritual and a global level. So you healed a lot around you. So people that come in from your past, it's not going to be weird that people are going to want to come in and be in and around this energy. It's a matter of whether you need to bring in that energy back into your life. So that's completely up to you. But good times are coming. Moving forward, for those of you who have been confused about or have not had a really clear idea of what you wanted to do, but not how to implement, new things in the world, new career paths, this, that, and the other, all of that will be taking off because you'll be free and clear, or didn't have the energy to do that, or there are lots of fits and starts because of what was going on. You had to put your energy first, which is totally fine. Or you didn't feel as connected with the guidance because the guidance was all in and around pulling you through and supporting you through this. They didn't want you to jump into anything brand new because, quite frankly, your energy could shift and change and you could go in a different direction. Or the other side of that is that what you wanted was still very much what you wanted, but there would be new renewed energy in and around it, and you would be in alignment with it, and therefore it would be possible to come to you. So they wanted to give you guidance and energy and support in and around what was going on in the immediacy of what was going on, not what you would do with that energy once you came out on the other side of it, if that makes sense. So, but all that guidance is there for you now. You should be feeling a lot freer. Woo! All right, celebrate growth and breakthroughs. Absolutely. So as much as, you've just come through on the other side of this, celebrate those growths, celebrate those breakthroughs. A lot of you, 4 steps forward, 2 steps back, 6 steps towards, 2 steps back, this healing journey that you've been on, this, want of a better word, spiritual journey that you've been on, a lot of ugly crying, a lot of stuff that's been going on. It is not fashionable. It is not a fun journey. It's not about, more often than not, it's not about love and light. There's nothing woo-woo about it. And, when you're peeling back layers of the onion, you go into one layer and you think you've got something and then something else comes up. It's been a constant moving forward and reiterating and doing this and doing that. So, but we want you to celebrate all of those. And we want you to celebrate this milestone because this is brand new. This is something that you're not going back to. Yes, we're always going to be working on yourselves. We're not like 2 thumbs up, you're ready to go, you never need to do anything again. Sign off, you're good. No, we're here to learn, we're here to research, we're here to redefine and all of that and be and love that, and be flexible enough to have that lovely life where you figure things out, you're always growing, you're always learning. You always had that growing, learning thing, but because it was attached to the healing process, there was always much more of a sort of a heaviness to it a little bit. When you were healing or you were learning healing modalities, it's so you could heal yourself, you could do that. So there's a little less intense energy about what you choose for yourself now. So now that you're on the other side of this, you get to celebrate because this is a milestone. This is a really big milestone. You're not going back anymore. A lot of those systems have been crumbled. They've crumbled. They're gone within you. They're absolutely gone within you. Now you're going to see it in a lot of people. You're going to see it in a lot of systems still out there. And that's totally fine. It doesn't mean that you're more developed than others. Not at all. It just means that your timing of what you've gone through is a little bit different to everybody else. So holding space for other people is really important right now. And also working outside of the ego. Again, there's a May update I'm going to list that video down below. It's how to work specifically with your ego, because the ego actually is the key to healing. We don't need to transcend it. We do not need to fight with it, or, you know, anything like that. We can actually work with it and integrate it. It's not about being better than it, or, you know, or firing it or getting rid of it or anything like that. So there's a lot of beauty that we can do if we make friends with our ego and heal on an ego basis. So the key to a lot of moving forward too, so that if you will be with working with the ego, so if you're interested in that, that could get, now that you're on the other side of this could be really an interesting part of you to figure out. So there's 3 piles of that. The readings down below. Again, always go with your intuition. We always give you some practical and sound advice and other ways to support you if you need it, for some more information and some extra clarity if you feel like you need it. So we will list that down below. But again, you are on the other side of this. This is absolutely wonderful. So there is a reason to celebrate, and there is a reason to celebrate in a, let's do one more of this actually. There's a really dramatic reason to celebrate, because, you know, that sort of 5 step forwards, 2 step backwards has now really been, it's been grounded in a different sense of reality. So the way in which you move forward, the way in which you heal or integrate information now will be very different. So improvise. Okay. So again, the way in which you move forward will be very, very different. So you've got these beautiful grids coming in. So the way in which you move forward now will be different. And that could have caused you confusion a little bit before, a little bit of uncertainty, which is totally fair enough. But for a lot of you, moving out of that, you know, that void, that whatever hit you, that sort of tower moment, for want of a better word, you know, and moved, and some of you could have tried to go back to certain things and, you know, it wasn't working and it brought you a lot of pain, because of course, you know, we go back to the familiar, especially when we're coming out of something, maybe to try it on, and it's just letting you know it doesn't work anymore. So this is a very flexible way for you to move forward now. You can move forward spherically in any way that you want and expect an outcome that you want, as long as you're in alignment and as long as you pull back from the outcome. So this is a very flexible version of you now out in the world. You get to work in a completely different way. In fact, the systems that you had before will not work anymore. The way in which you worked in the world now will not work anymore. Your energy is on a different frequency now. So don't expect it to work the way it did before. So this is about you having a real freedom in thought, a real freedom in expansion in the way that you think. The way in which you work may not, again, you probably have this in common with Pal 2, but very different energies. The way in which you move forward and the way, you know, everything that you accomplish, and everything that you gather and the way in which you move forward will not make sense to that many people. And that's okay. You know, you'll probably have a conversation. I don't understand how you got this, or how you did this, or this, that, and the other. It will fall in place for you. You just concentrate on your energy. You keep your energy clear. You celebrate. You keep flexible, but be very clear about what it is that you want. Work with that alignment and it will come. The processes that you took before in order to move forward are not going to work for you anymore. And that's okay. You just don't need them. You just don't need them. Surrender. Absolutely. And the number 2, coming back into alignment, surrender. Surrender to the process here. We promise you there is rhyme and reason to the surrendering to the process. It works. It really does work. So for whatever it is that you want, and remember, you've been working on whatever it is that you want, you've been laying down the seeds, you've been doing everything that you need to do this whole time. You know, in many ways, you've been sort of on the sidelines, but you've been very active on what it is that you want in this world. So you can, you know, it's time for it to all come into fruition now. It's absolutely time. But it's about improvising. It's about surrendering. It's about moving differently. It's like crabs, right? They don't move forward. They move sideways. They have their own ways of doing things. They're kind of creepy looking, right? When they move, a lot of people are creeped out by them. I absolutely get it, you know, but they don't have a way forward. And, you know, Cancers in real life, if you have the astrology sign, you know, they don't do things the way that everybody else, they do things outside of the, you know, outside of the box. They're usually their own bosses. They have a certain amount of innovation that they put to good use, but it doesn't really make sense. Look at Robin Williams, for instance. I mean, like, he was kind of a nutter, right? I mean, all the characters that he came up with. I mean, nobody else could do that in the world but Robin Williams. He was a Cancer, Scorpio rising. I mean, whatever you do will be brilliant, but it'll be outside of the box, right? Doesn't necessarily need to be for everyone. Not everybody in the world thinks, Robin Williams is a genius, but I think he was. But he's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but nobody can deny that the level in which he reached was kind of brilliant, and he did it from being outside of the box. He didn't subscribe to anybody. There's nobody else like him. Right? So this is the way that you're at. Think like a Cancer now. There's nobody else like you. You've got your own way to do this. It's going to be outside of the box, and nobody is going to understand it. And the thing is, when people come to you and say, I want to have the life that you have, I want to do it, you won't be able to describe it to them, because they won't be able to employ exactly the way that you do it. The way that you can offer them guidance to be in this flexible kind of surrendering mode, and that's how they will get it for themselves. But, there's no physical, tangible way that you'll be, I did this step, then I did this step. It's like, I surrendered, and this is where my energy was at. That's it. That's what you're going to be able to say to people. But, you're coming out on the other side of this, and everything that you put in that's been out there will come to fruition. It's a very, very exciting time for you, and very well deserved, but we want you to celebrate those growths and breakthroughs, and we want you to trust those growths and breakthroughs. Like before, I'm always on this journey. Yeah, there's been a lot that you've had to do, pile 3. So it's like when you've had a breakthrough, you trusted it for a little bit, and then something else came up. So trust this one. Trust this one. It feels different. It should feel different. If you're resonating with this energy of this pile, then you already know it feels different. You can't go back because you've tried to, and it doesn't happen. It feels painful, right? Nothing fits anymore. That's okay. You're not supposed to. So, heart chakra. I love myself and others unconditionally and nurture loving relationships. Absolutely. This is absolutely getting back into the heart chakra for you. And a reminder where everybody is right now. Love them unconditionally. Doesn't mean that you need to take on their energy. Doesn't mean that you don't need boundaries, but you love them unconditionally. Everybody is doing their own thing, and they have to have their own path and be free to have their own path. That's just it. And you know more than anyone that the path laid out may not make sense to anybody else. So you know that when you're looking upon others to nurture and loving relationships. This is coming in for you. There are many different payoffs, for want of a better word. Not crazy about that word because you're not doing it for a payoff. But just to be clear, the payoffs that are coming in for you are increased, beautiful relationships, integrating into the world, having that sense of security, and seeing everything that you've put into the world pay off and come to fruition. So coming back into that heart center, being really connected, relationships that you already have will jump up at intimacy, bringing in new elements of soul family. There's new opportunities coming in for work for you again, doing what it is that you want without compromise. This is all, you've done all of this so you live your life without any compromises. That's not to say that you won't work in and around with people and allowing other people's energies and do this my way. Not at all. But before it's like, all right, I want this, but I feel as though I need to do this first to be able to get it. The universe is saying to you, no, we've done this for you. We've made you go through all of this so you don't have to compromise anymore. You get exactly what you want on your own terms. It may look different and it may be better than what you asked for, but you don't have to dumb yourself down anymore. This is the life that you want. So expect it. Stay in alignment. Remember, give everybody the unconditional love and the nurturing they need from afar. You don't need to take on that energy, but respect everybody where they are. You are going to be different. You are going to look different. Your life is going to look different, and that's okay. But it doesn't mean that anybody's above anybody else. So stay with that heart chakra, surrender when you have those moments of I feel a little bit lost, because this is a brand new beginning for you. And that's the thing, when you've gone through these experiences before, something familiar did come up after a couple of days or a little while after, getting to that plateau, getting to that level, and they go, all right, here we go again. This is brand new. This is brand new because you're not going back to anything. So it could be confusing. Sometimes it could be a little disconcerting for you. So again, we're sending you a blanket of love. when that comes up and a little bit of self-doubt comes up, a little bit confusion, I don't know, I feel a little bit lost, totally understandable. Go back to that surrendering process, go back to that heart chakra process and say, what is my next move? I just don't concentrate on or thinking backwards or going backwards or trying to implement things that just won't work anymore. Remember, go back into your heart space and remain calm. Speak to your guidance, speak to your guidance counselors. That's how they want you to see them. My goodness, I just thought that's so funny. Speak to your guidance counselors, call them up, just call into them, you know, in your heart space and say, I feel a little confused right now. I need to know that you're there. Send me a sign, send me my next baby step. Don't leave me hanging here. And they will. They'll send you a sign. They'll send you a sign. Ask for whatever it is that you need if you're feeling that lost energy, and then you'll get more comfortable. And then you got baby steps going in here, baby steps. So just stay with it, but don't forget to ask for your guidance counselors because they're there to protect you and be with you at every moment. And this is a significant moment with everything that you're going through. So that's what we have for you, pile 3. Absolutely wonderful. Go be you on your own terms. You've worked so hard to be able to do this. And all of that other stuff. What is it? Like, subscribe if you're not, thumbs up, and all of that other stuff. If you feel like you want to, we'd love to have you here. You know the drill if you've been on other YouTube videos. So thank you very much for coming. We are thanking your guides. We're so proud of you. And again, links will be down below if there's any extra support that we can give you from past readings. Again, always check in with your intuition if you feel like you need it. If it resonates with you, go get some extra help. We'll list it down below. Until we meet again, you stay safe and sane, pile 3. Go be you. And we can't wait to see and hear from you again, to know how beautiful you are and what you're doing in the world. Take care. Bye-bye.